The restaurant owner jokingly invited the dishwasher to the negotiations. But as soon as she read the contract, the suppliers were shocked. Amanda, the owner of Memories of Flavor, faces financial problems and a secret illness. Her assistant, Sophie, discovers an illegal scheme that threatens to destroy everything. Together with the bartender John, they embark on a dangerous investigation. Friendships will be tested, betrayals revealed, and secrets uncovered. How will this unlikely trio face the challenges threatening not just the restaurant but their personal lives as well? Discover a story of courage, resilience, and renewal that you won't want to miss. It was a cold November morning when Amanda, the owner of the restaurant Memories of Flavor, opened the kitchen door with the usual sense of anxiety in her chest. The restaurant, located on a busy corner in Boston, was a haven of homemade and comforting cuisine, but had recently been facing serious financial problems. Amanda, at 45, looked much older than she was. Her worries reflected in the wrinkles marking her tired face. Amanda had always been a resilient woman, raised in a family of Portuguese immigrants, where she learned to cook with her grandmother. Her restaurant was her life, a dream that materialized after many years of hard work. However, the constant pressure and long hours began to take their toll. She suffered in silence, dealing with an illness she preferred to keep secret, multiple sclerosis, diagnosed just 6 months ago. The kitchen assistant, Sophie, a 24-year-old with a mysterious past, was one of the few reasons Amanda kept fighting. Sophie, with her curly brown hair and bright green eyes, had a lively personality that contrasted with the tense atmosphere in the kitchen. She was efficient, dedicated, and brought a lightness to the environment that Amanda desperately needed. Despite this, Sophie faced her own personal hell, marked by a painful past and a desire to start over. That morning, as Amanda reviewed the inventory, Sophie entered the kitchen with a gentle smile, ready to start another day of work. Little did she know that this day would change her life forever. "Good morning, Amanda. Do you need help with anything specific today?" Sophie asked, approaching the counter. Amanda sighed, feeling the usual exhaustion. "Good morning, Sophie. Yes, could you check the vegetable stock? I think we need more potatoes and carrots." As Sophie headed to the storage room, Amanda reflected on the difficult situation she was in. Her husband, Peter, who once supported her in every aspect, was now distant, their relationship strained by stress and the endless hours dedicated to the restaurant. The arguments had become frequent, and the marriage seemed to be hanging by a thread. In the dining room, John, the bartender, was beginning to set up the bar for lunch service. He was a man in his early 30s, with a past he preferred not to discuss. John and Sophie got along well, sharing camaraderie developed through the difficulties at work. While checking the stock, Sophie found a forgotten folder in a dark corner of the storage room. Curious, she opened it and discovered a series of contracts between the restaurant and its suppliers. As she read more closely, her heart raced. The contracts revealed hidden illegal activities involving the restaurant manager, Mark, and possibly other staff members. Sophie felt a chill down her spine, realizing she was about to get involved in something much bigger and more dangerous than she had imagined. She returned to the kitchen, her mind racing with the revelations. She had to decide what to do with this information. Revealing the truth could destroy the restaurant and perhaps put her own life at risk. At the same time, keeping silent would make her complicit in criminal activities. Amanda noticed Sophie's troubled expression and asked, "Is everything all right? Sophie? You seem worried." Sophie hesitated for a moment before answering. "Yes, everything's fine. I just found something in the stockroom that made me think." Amanda frowned but didn't press. "If you need help or want to talk, I'm here, okay?" Sophie nodded, still pondering what to do. She knew she needed time to process everything and decide on her next step. The day continued, but the tension in the air was palpable, foreshadowing the storms to come. Sophie spent a sleepless night reflecting on the contracts she had discovered. She knew they could destroy the restaurant and potentially ruin many people's lives. In the morning, she decided she needed more information before making any decisions. However, her actions did not go unnoticed. The next morning, as she entered the restaurant, Sophie noticed that Mark, the manager, was more agitated than usual. He was a middle-aged man with a short temper, known for treating the staff with disdain. "Sophie, I need to talk to you in my office now," he said in a tone that left no room for objections. Sophie felt a chill but kept her composure. She entered Mark's small office, where he was already waiting with a severe expression on his face. "I heard you were snooping around the storage room. What did you find there?" he asked bluntly. Sophie took a deep breath. "I was just checking the stock," as Amanda asked. "I didn't find anything unusual." Mark narrowed his eyes, clearly suspicious. "I hope you're telling the truth, Sophie, because if I find out you're hiding something, the consequences will be serious." Sophie left the office with a racing heart, aware that she was treading on dangerous ground. She decided she needed help and, during lunch, found a moment to talk to John. In a corner of the bar, while he polished glasses, Sophie approached and whispered, "John, I need to talk to you. It's serious." John looked up, noting the seriousness in Sophie's face. "Sure, let's go outside." In the alley behind the restaurant, Sophie revealed what she had found. John listened attentively, his expression of concern growing with each word. "This is very serious, Sophie. If these contracts are real, the restaurant is involved in something big and illegal." "I know," Sophie replied, "but I don't know what to do. If I reveal this, it could be the end of the restaurant and Amanda." John pondered for a moment before responding. "We need concrete evidence. I know a lawyer who can help us understand these contracts. Let's talk to him before making any decisions." Meanwhile, Amanda was dealing with her own demons. The relationship with Peter was increasingly deteriorating. He had become cold and distant, spending more time away from home and getting involved in shady businesses that Amanda preferred not to question. That night, during another heated argument, Peter finally revealed his frustration. "I'm tired of this, Amanda. This restaurant is destroying us. You work all the time, you're never home. And for what? To see this sink into debt," he shouted. Amanda felt the tears burn her eyes but kept her voice firm. "Peter, this restaurant is all I have. It's our livelihood, our dream. I can't just abandon it." "Maybe it's time to reassess your dreams," Peter replied, leaving the house and leaving Amanda alone with her tears and despair. The next day, John and Sophie visited the lawyer, who confirmed the seriousness of the situation. The contracts revealed bribes and fraudulent schemes involving the manager Mark and possibly other staff members. "You have to be very careful. If this comes out, there could be repercussions," the lawyer warned. With this information, Sophie and John knew they had to confront Amanda. She deserved to know the truth, even if it was painful. That night, they waited until the restaurant was closed and called Amanda to a meeting in the kitchen. "Amanda, we need to talk to you about something very serious," Sophie began, nervous. Amanda looked at the two of them, clearly exhausted but curious. "What is it, Sophie?" Sophie explained everything, showing the contracts and the evidence they had collected. Amanda went pale, feeling the weight of the revelation. "This is unbelievable. Mark has always been a thorn in my side, but this is much worse than I imagined." "We have to do something," John said. "But we need to be smart. If we expose this, it could be the end of the restaurant, and we don't know who else is involved." Amanda took a deep breath, trying to process everything. "We have to be careful. We need to find out who else is involved and gather more evidence. We can't act hastily." As they discussed the plan, Mark watched from afar, realizing something was happening. He knew he had to act quickly to protect his interests. The tension was rising, and the challenges ahead seemed insurmountable. But Sophie, Amanda, and John were determined to fight for justice and the future of the restaurant. The weeks that followed were marked by constant tension. Amanda, Sophie, and John formed a plan to gather more evidence about the illegal activities in the restaurant. Meanwhile, Mark seemed increasingly suspicious, keeping a close eye on everyone. One night, after the restaurant had closed, Sophie and John were in the office, reviewing the contracts again, when they heard footsteps outside. The lights were off, except for a small desk lamp casting a dim glow over the scattered papers. John whispered, "Turn off the light. Someone's coming." They turned off the lamp and hid behind the desk. The door opened slowly, and Mark entered, rummaging through the office. Sophie held her breath, trying not to make any noise. Mark seemed angry, rifling through papers and muttering to himself. After a few minutes, he left, apparently not finding what he was looking for. Sophie and John waited a few more minutes before emerging from their hiding place. "This is getting dangerous," John said. "We need to act fast before he finds out what we're doing." The next day, Amanda gathered all the staff for a meeting. The atmosphere was tense, and everyone wondered what was going on. Amanda looked at the worried faces of her employees and began to speak. "I know many of you have noticed changes and tensions lately. I want you to know that we're working to resolve some serious issues in the restaurant. I need everyone to cooperate and maintain professionalism while we investigate these matters." The employees exchanged suspicious glances, but no one asked questions. Mark was absent from the meeting, which raised even more suspicions among the staff. After the meeting, Amanda called Sophie and John into her office. "We have to find out how far this goes. Sophie, I need you to keep digging through the files and documents. John, see if you can find out more about Mark's connections with the suppliers." With a renewed sense of determination, Sophie began to investigate more deeply. One night, while examining the files, she found a letter addressed to Peter, Amanda's husband. The letter mentioned suspicious payments and secret meetings. Sophie's heart raced. Was Peter involved in this too? Sophie knew she had to tell Amanda, but how could she reveal that her own husband was involved in criminal activities? Sophie's loyalty was with Amanda, but she knew this could destroy her. That night, Amanda was alone in the office, going over the restaurant's accounts. Sophie knocked softly on the door and entered. "Amanda, I think I found something important. You need to see this." Amanda looked at the letter Sophie handed her, and her face paled. "It can't be. Peter, he's involved in this." Sophie nodded, her eyes full of compassion. "I'm sorry, Amanda. I didn't want to believe it, but we have to confront him." Amanda took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the betrayal. "I'll talk to him tonight." "Thank you, Sophie. You've been a loyal friend." That night, Amanda waited for Peter to come home. When he entered, exhausted, she confronted him with the letter. "Peter, what is this? Are you involved in illegal activities at the restaurant?" Peter looked at the letter, and his face twisted with anger and guilt. "Amanda, I can explain." "I don't want explanations. I want the truth, Peter. Are you betraying me, betraying our business?" Peter hesitated before responding. "Yes, I'm involved in it, but I did it for us to save the restaurant." Amanda felt tears well up. "Save the restaurant? You're destroying everything we've worked for. How could you do this to me?" Peter tried to approach, but Amanda pulled away. "Don't touch me. I'm going to resolve this without you. And as for us, I don't know if there's any way to fix this." Meanwhile, John discovered that Mark was planning a big scam, selling the restaurant's supplies to local suppliers and pocketing the money. With this information, they knew they had to act fast. They decided to confront Mark the next morning. Amanda, Sophie, and John met in the office. "We have enough evidence. We're calling the police and ending this once and for all," Amanda said, determined. When the police arrived, Mark was arrested, and the news quickly spread through the restaurant. The employees were stunned but relieved that the truth had finally come out. Peter was also arrested, leaving Amanda devastated but determined to save her restaurant and her life. With Mark and Peter out of the picture, Amanda, Sophie, and John began to rebuild the restaurant, knowing there were still many battles ahead. However, they now had renewed hope and determination to face any challenge. The days following Mark and Peter's arrests were almost unbearably intense. Amanda, Sophie, and John worked tirelessly to reorganize the restaurant, keep the staff motivated, and ensure that customers continued to patronize the place. There was a sense of relief in the air, but also uncertainty about the future. One night, after the restaurant closed, Amanda was in the office, reviewing the last details of the financial report. Sophie entered with a worried expression. "Amanda, there's something I need to tell you." Amanda looked at her, curious. "What is it, Sophie?" Sophie hesitated for a moment before speaking. I found some more documents. They show that Peter and Mark weren't acting alone. There's a third person involved, and it seems to be someone very close to you. Amanda felt a chill. Who, Sophie? Sophie took a deep breath before responding. The supplier manager, Robert. He's involved in all the bribery and fraud schemes. Amanda was in shock. Robert was a longtime friend and someone she trusted. This can't be true. Robert has always been so loyal. I know it's hard to believe, but the documents don't lie. We need to confront him, Sophie said, trying to be firm. Amanda nodded. We'll do it tomorrow. I need time to process all this. The next day, Amanda, Sophie, and John arranged a meeting with Robert in the office. When he arrived, he seemed confident, but seeing everyone's serious faces, his expression changed. Amanda, what's going on? Robert asked, trying to keep calm. Amanda looked him straight in the eyes. Robert, we've found evidence that you're involved in bribery and fraud schemes with Mark and Peter. Is it true? Robert turned pale but tried to defend himself. Amanda, you know me. I would never do something like that. Sophie intervened, placing the documents on the table. These are the contracts and bank transfers linking you to them. There's no point in denying it. Robert looked at the papers and, seeing no way out, broke down. Okay. I was involved, but I was coerced. Mark threatened me. I had no choice. Amanda felt a mixture of anger and sadness. You had a choice, Robert. There's always a choice. You betrayed our trust, and now you have to face the consequences. As Robert was taken away by the police, Amanda felt a wave of emotions. The revelation of a close friend's betrayal was a hard blow, but it also brought a sense of resolution. She knew that, with Robert out of the picture, they could finally start rebuilding for real. With the main culprits arrested, Amanda, Sophie, and John began planning a better future for the restaurant. They decided to reorganize the staff, improve the menu, and promote a new image for Memories of Flavor. The employees, now aware of the whole truth, rallied in support of Amanda, determined to save the restaurant. In the midst of this transformation, a new friendship and possibly something more began to blossom between Sophie and John. They started spending more time together outside of work, sharing stories and dreams. Sophie found in John a constant support and slowly began to trust him not just as a colleague but as a close friend. One night, after a long day at work, John invited Sophie to dinner at his place. They went to a small bistro in town, where the atmosphere was quiet and cozy. During dinner, they talked about everything, from their childhoods to their plans. Have you ever thought about opening your own restaurant, Sophie? John asked, curious. Sophie smiled, playing with her wine glass. Sometimes. But honestly, I'm happy here. Working with Amanda, and you makes me feel like I'm part of something special. John held her hand, his eyes reflecting sincerity. And you are a special part of it all. I really like you, Sophie. More than just a colleague. Sophie blushed, feeling a mix of surprise and joy. I like you too, John. A lot. That night marked the beginning of a new chapter in their lives. The relationship between Sophie and John deepened, and they began exploring this new connection, finding strength and comfort in each other. Meanwhile, Amanda continued the fight to keep the restaurant afloat. But now, with the support of her team and the resolution of internal problems, she felt more hopeful than ever. Each day brought new challenges but also new opportunities. Over time, Memories of Flavor flourished again, regaining the trust of customers and becoming a symbol of resilience and renewal. Amanda, Sophie, and John, united by everything they had faced together, found a new sense of purpose and community, ready for anything the future held. With Memories of Flavor returning to prosperity, Amanda, Sophie, and John felt a weight lifted off their shoulders. The truth had been revealed, and the main culprits were in prison. Life, though still challenging, seemed more manageable. However, one last twist was about to shake their lives once more. One afternoon, while Amanda was in the office, she received an unexpected visit from a lawyer. He brought news she never expected to hear. Mrs. Amanda, I'm here representing an anonymous client. My client wants to discuss the purchase of the restaurant. Amanda frowned, confused and suspicious. Purchase of the restaurant? Who is this anonymous client? The lawyer handed Amanda an envelope. Everything is explained here. My client is willing to pay a generous price and settle all outstanding debts. Amanda opened the envelope with trembling hands. Inside was a substantial purchase offer, more than enough to resolve all the restaurant's financial issues and ensure a comfortable future for her. However, the buyer's identity was the real shock. It was Amanda's husband, Peter, now trying to make amends and repair the damage he had caused. He was willing to hand over control of the restaurant so Amanda could focus on her health and well-being. The letter included a personal message from Peter, expressing his regret and desire for reconciliation. Amanda felt a mix of emotions, anger, sadness, but also an unexpected relief. Peter's words showed a repentant man trying to right his wrongs. She knew the decision wouldn't be easy, but she had to think about what was best for herself and the restaurant. As she pondered the offer, Sophie entered the office, noticing Amanda's troubled expression. "Amanda, is everything okay?" Amanda sighed, handing the letter to Sophie. "Read this. It seems Peter wants to buy the restaurant and help me out of this crisis. He's sorry, but I don't know if I can trust him again." Sophie read the letter carefully, then looked at Amanda with understanding. "Amanda, only you can decide what's best. But maybe accepting his help doesn't mean forgiving him completely. It could be a way to start anew for all of us." That night, Amanda gathered all the staff and explained the situation. "I have an offer to sell the restaurant and settle all the debts. This could give us a chance to start anew. But I want to know what you all think." The employees exchanged glances, whispering among themselves. John was the first to speak. "Amanda, we all trust you. If you think this is best, we support your decision. But we're also ready to fight by your side if you decide to stay." Amanda smiled, feeling a wave of gratitude. "Thank you, John. Thank you all. I'll think carefully about what to do. But know that without you, Memories of Flavor wouldn't be anything." That night, Amanda met with Peter to discuss the offer. He was nervous but determined to show his regret. "Amanda, I know I messed up and that nothing I say can erase what I did, but I'm willing to do anything to fix this. Please, let me help." Amanda looked at him, her eyes full of conflicting emotions. "Peter, I need time to trust you again, but maybe accepting your offer is a step in that direction. We'll do this together, but with clear condition." They agreed that Amanda would keep a stake in the restaurant while Peter helped resolve the financial issues. This way, Amanda could focus on her health and the next steps in rebuilding her life. As the restaurant went through this transition, Sophie and John faced their own changes. Their relationship flourished, growing stronger. One night, after a long day at work, John invited Sophie to a special dinner at his home. "I want to show you something," John said, leading Sophie to the porch, where a table was elegantly set. "I'm thinking of opening a small restaurant with you, place of our own. What do you think?" Sophie was moved, feeling tears of joy well up in her eyes. "John, that would be wonderful. I'd love it." As they toasted to their new partnership and the dreams they were building together, Amanda, at home, reflected on the changes in her life. She felt a growing sense of relief and gratitude for the support of her friends and the chance to start over. Over time, Memories of Flavor thrived under new management, and Amanda, Sophie, and John found new beginnings and new hopes. They learned that despite the difficulties, the strength of friendship and love could overcome any obstacle. Months had passed since the turnaround at Memories of Flavor. Amanda, Sophie, and John were in a new chapter of their lives. The restaurant was thriving under new management, and the atmosphere was one of renewed hope and optimism. After accepting Peter's offer and settling the restaurant's debts, Amanda found a new balance in her life. She not only focused on managing the restaurant but also dedicated time to her health and well-being. Her treatments were going well, and she began to feel a lightness she hadn't experienced in a long time. Peter, for his part, showed genuine remorse and determination to regain Amanda's trust. He worked alongside her, respecting her decisions and offering constant support. Over time, Amanda began to notice genuine changes in his behavior, and they started to rebuild trust and mutual respect. One afternoon, as Amanda walked through the restaurant's dining area, observing the satisfied customers and dedicated staff, she felt a wave of gratitude. Sophie and John were at the bar, laughing and exchanging knowing glances, and Amanda realized how much they had become an essential part of this unlikely family. Sophie, now dividing her time between memories of flavor and planning the new restaurant with John, was radiant. Their relationship had strengthened, and together they were laying the foundation for their future business. Sophie found in John not just a business partner, but also a love that made her feel valued and loved. One night, while closing the restaurant, Amanda called all the staff for a small meeting. "I want to thank each of you for your support and dedication. You've been incredible during these tough times, and now we can look to the future with hope." The staff applauded, feeling the weight of Amanda's words. She continued, "I also want to share some special news. Sophie and John are opening a new restaurant, and I know it will be a great success. Let's support them on this new journey." Sophie and John were warmly applauded, and an emotional Sophie spoke, "Thank you, Amanda. You all mean so much to us. We've learned so much here and can't wait to start this new adventure." In the following months, as Sophie and John worked on their new restaurant, Amanda focused on keeping memories of flavor prosperous. She discovered a new passion for mentoring young chefs and staff, sharing her experience and wisdom. Peter, alongside Amanda, became a pillar of support, and they started planning short trips and moments of rest, something they hadn't done in a long time. Their relationship, once worn and full of distrust, now flourished with renewed communication and respect. On the day of the opening of Sophie and John's new restaurant, Roots of Hope, Amanda was there, filled with pride. The small bistro, with a cozy decor and a menu blending family traditions with modern touches, was packed with excited guests. During the opening toast, John raised his glass and said, "We thank everyone who supported us, especially Amanda, who was our mentor and inspiration. This restaurant is proof that with support and determination, we can overcome any obstacle." Amanda felt tears fill her eyes, but this time they were tears of joy and satisfaction. Sophie hugged her, whispering, "Thank you for everything, Amanda. We wouldn't be here without you." The event was a success, and Roots of Hope quickly became a beloved spot in the community, just like Memories of Flavor. Amanda, Sophie, and John continued to support each other, knowing that despite the past difficulties, they had built something lasting and meaningful. That night, as Amanda looked up at the stars beside Peter, she felt a deep peace. For the first time in a long time, she looked to the future with optimism and contentment. Life was unpredictable and full of challenges, but with love, friendship, and resilience, anything was possible. Amanda began to focus more on herself, enjoying the quiet moments at home and the short trips she and Peter started to take together. Gradually, they rediscovered the small pleasures of life as a couple, rebuilding their relationship based on renewed trust. Peter, for his part, showed commitment to change. He attended therapy sessions to deal with past mistakes and understand how he could be a better partner for Amanda. His effort did not go unnoticed, and Amanda began to see a new future for the two of them, more solid and full of hope. Meanwhile, Sophie and John, energized by the initial success of Roots of Hope, poured all their love and dedication into the new venture. The local community welcomed the restaurant with open arms, and soon the small bistro became a meeting point for families, friends, and couples seeking a cozy atmosphere and quality cuisine. Sophie, who once carried a past of pain and uncertainties, now radiated happiness. She felt fulfilled both personally and professionally. The support of John and Amanda was crucial in this transformation, and she knew that without them, none of this would have been possible. Memories of Flavor continued to thrive under Amanda's management, who now saw herself more as a mentor than the exhausted administrator she once was. She began organizing workshops and lectures for young entrepreneurs and aspiring chefs, sharing her experiences and encouraging others to pursue their dreams with the same determination she had always had. Weeks turned into months and months into years. Life at Memories of Flavor and Roots of Hope followed its natural course, with ups and downs, but always with the certainty that Amanda, Sophie, and John, united, could face any adversity. At an anniversary celebration of Roots of Hope, Amanda was invited to give a speech. She stood on an improvised stage, surrounded by friends, family, and community members. With an emotional smile, she began to speak. This restaurant is much more than a realized dream. It is a symbol of hope, resilience, and proof that with love and support, we can overcome any challenge. Seeing Sophie and John here, thriving, fills me with pride. And knowing that Memories of Flavor continues to be a refuge for many gives me immense joy. The audience gave her a standing ovation, moved by her words. Amanda continued, "Life throws us unexpected challenges, but it's our ability to rise, to believe in each other, and to never give up that defines us. Thank you all for being part of this incredible journey." That night, as she looked up at the stars beside Peter, Amanda felt at peace. She knew the future still held many surprises, but now, she was ready for anything, because she had something that would never stop being hers, the strength of love and the resilience of the heart. And so, with renewed hope, love, and gratitude, Amanda, Sophie, and John moved forward, living their lives to the fullest and inspiring everyone around them with their stories of overcoming and success.